The Atlanta Hawks just ended their 11-game winning streak from the Phoenix Suns, and it's looking like the Hawks will go on a run just like how they did the last season after firing their head coach Lloyd Pierce and signing Nick McMillan for that position. And it's all thanks to the bench finally stepping up and playing to the potential that they are supposed to. But there is one player that is playing so good that when the playoffs come around, he could be their X Factor. Stay tuned to find out who it is. Let me remind you that after Nick McMillan was the new head coach for the Atlanta Hawks, they won 27 games and lost 11 games in the regular season, and during the playoffs they beat the Knicks in 5, the Philadelphia 76ers in 6, and they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks in 6 games, who eventually won the championship, beating the Phoenix Suns in the finals. Ever since Cam Reddish got traded to the New York Knicks, the Hawks have been hot, winning 8 of the last 10 games and actually had a 7-game winning streak, and it ended because Trae Young didn't play against the Raptors, who they eventually lost. Through the last 9 games, they had the 5th best offensive rating, but man, look at the Timberwolves with the best offensive rating through the last 9 games. But of course, their defense still needs a lot of work. The Hawks defense has been really good lately. Through those games, they had the 4th best defense. That's something that we haven't really seen from them the whole season, because they haven't been able to stay consistent with their defense. As you can see, they have one of the worst defense in the NBA. However, on the offensive end, they have been able to stay consistent, which is no surprise there since they have Trae Young on their team, a player that is an MVP caliber player. He's a great offensive player that can put up 30 points any given night. I mean, just look at his numbers. Through the last 9 games, he's putting up superstar numbers. But he does that the whole season, so that's nothing new. But they are winning so many games is because their bench has been on fire. Bogdanovic returned after missing 5 games and is averaging 16 points off the bench, while Lou Williams had his best game of the season against the Kings, 15 points and 5 assists in 19 minutes. Here, you can see how good they have been through the last 9 games. They are in the top 5 in almost every category. But I still haven't mentioned who their X Factor is, because when the playoffs come around, which I expect them to make it, he has to step up for the Hawks to make a deep run, just like how they did the last season. Let's take a look at the standings in the Eastern Conference so that you understand why I believe they'll make it. So, when we look at the standings in the Eastern Conference, the Hawks are not that far off from the 6th seed. And when we look at the teams that are probably going to end up in the play-in tournament, the only team with probably more talent than the Hawks are the Hornets. The Raptors, the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Wizards are a tier below the Hawks. But let's finally talk about who their X Factor will be come playoff time. And it is the 6th pick from the 2020 NBA Draft, Onyeka Okongwu. Hopefully I say his name right, but he's 6'9" and weighs 240 pounds. And even though he's so big, his athleticism can keep up with the more athletic bigs in the league. And his footwork is improving game by game. He helped the Hawks beat the Lakers just the other day. They turned a 10 points deficit into a 9 points win. All because of Okongwu was taking really efficient shots in the 4th quarter. He went 6 for 6. And he was actually reading the defense really well. He ended that game with 60 points and 5 rebounds, and he had a crazy alley-oop dunk in that game. Okongwu had other big games: 17 points, 8 rebounds and 5 blocks against the Timberwolves, 18 points and 7 rebounds against the Kings. These 3 games happened during the 7-game winning streak from the Hawks, so he was clearly helping them win some games. And let me not forget, he's shooting 72% from the field this season. I really can see a future with Okongwu and John Collins being the future frontcourt for the Atlanta Hawks, because Clint Capella is not going to get better. He already reached his peak. So if I'm the Atlanta Hawks, I would look to trade him before the trade deadline happens. So that way Onyeka Okongwu will get more minutes and can develop faster, because he's already showing potential of being a future all-star. But let me know down in the comment section if you think Onyeka Okongwu can help the Hawks make a deep playoff run just like the last season. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.